Well, podcast fans, welcome to this week's show. It is Monday, August 26th. And for you guys that are like, didn't you just do a show? You would be right. I was not here, but Mr. Kyle West was.
I was here. I did just do a show, but that's okay. We will do another show. We're getting back on track.
Yeah, we tell you this every week, but if you guys are in the working world, you understand. Like, Kyle's got a job with weird hours. If you guys have been a part of the show at any point in the last 5 years, you know I'm all over the fucking place. So just getting the schedules to line up has been challenging. But once the season rolls around, it kind of just works for all of us. We kind of make time and figure it out. So we're getting there. Really excited this week. I wasn't too happy with the game, even though everybody was pumped about it. But we're going to review the preseason game number 3 against the Arizona Cardinals. This week's episode is number 359. We call this one Murray Up and Wait. Kyler Murray played the longest that he's played in the preseason. He did pretty well. It's pretty cool to kind of gauge against a mobile running quarterback in the number 1 pick. So that was cool. Kyle watched the entire game, so he's going to break down all the film for you guys.
Yeah, I'm going to give a super professional breakdown of everything that happened. Move over, Mike Mayock. I'm coming for you. I also have full control of the stream for the first time on StreamYard. So that means I can highlight cool comments from people like Fire Breather, who's talking about how good Dalvin Cook is looking. He's calling him a stud.
He said, other than that, it was, oh boy. Yeah, you're exactly right, man. If you watch SportsCenter, the highlights made us look great. This box score was good. And this is typical Viking fashion. I don't care if it's preseason. You had those games where we were winning the entire game. We found a way to lose, and we're like, that's total Vikings thing to do. And we have those games where we come out with a win, but you kind of are pissed off because you're like, we didn't deserve that, and it was really sloppy. That was one of these games. Well, we're going to jump into it. I wanted to do, before we get started on the game review of the Cardinals, because this is going to be a relatively quick show because we don't have any game notes. I'm sorry, we don't have any quick hits going around. Wanted to let everybody know that cornerback Mike Hughes is officially off the PUP list, which is really good because this ties into one of my donkeys for the game. So I'm really pumped to have him back. Now, I would ease the expectation and the brakes on that if I were the casual Vikings fan. I wouldn't expect to see him a lot in the first 1 or 2 games, maybe a couple snaps here and there to get his feet wet. But the good news is he's not going to start the season on the PUP. He'll be there for depth, and he can ease his way back in when he's comfortable and when Zimmer says that he feels he's ready to go.
They're going to put him on that pitch count. I agree with you. I don't see any reason for them to try to rush and throw him back out there into the starting lineup. So I think that's great. Corner is, as we've talked about, I think the most difficult position in the NFL to play to begin with. So when you're coming back from an injury like what he is, you really have to be 100%, and you've got to have full confidence to be out there on the field. So I like what they're doing. I like the way that they're slowly kind of easing him back into this.
Yeah, I think we all agree, looking after – I think AP really set the standard 7 years ago with, speedy recoveries for ACLs. Now, his was just an anomaly. It was freakish, inhuman, robot, whatever adjective you want to come in to describe him. But it's been a lot faster. Jimmy Garoppolo tore his ACL, well into, the first quarter of the season, going into the second quarter of the season, and he's already playing preseason games. You didn't see that a long time ago. Medicine's advanced. These guys can heal a lot quicker. I think a year is a good gauge, but now it's a little bit less. But nonetheless, we're pumped to hear that news today. It was a very, very good Vikings news day to see that and read it, because I don't care if it was a lot of pressure from the front four, front seven, whatever. When he had a pick six in his very first game, I was very happy with that. A lot of fans were pissed off in last year's draft because they're like, why would you take a corner? That's a typical Mike Zimmer move. But I like the kid a lot. I think he's going to be a great addition to the team, and I'm glad. I hope he has a Dalvin Cook turnaround where he comes back and oh shit, that's why we drafted him. Okay, that makes sense.
Right. We got some cool comments I want to highlight because we can highlight comments now on the show. Yin Yaj says that I am going to become a better GM than Mike Mayock. To which I would say I really wanted us to draft Brady Quinn. So I, most of the time, don't know what I'm talking about. So probably not.
On the flip side of that, Yang Yaj, you have a good point, because if I'm the Raiders, I don't get rid of a guy named Khalil Mack. I just don't. And I don't
No.
bring in the headache and the circus that is Antonio Brown. I don't. I keep Amari Cooper and I keep Khalil Mack, and I make it fucking work. But I don't know. I think that was more Gruden than Mayock, if I have to correct myself. But whatever. That'll be a good dumpster fire we get to play against this year. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. We got Kathy with us, who we haven't seen for a while. So thank you, Kathy. Thanks for joining back in. She says, "Where was the defense? Both pass rush and pass defense. Yeah, they didn't look so hot. So they definitely got some work to improve upon. You can always fall back on the old, well, it's only preseason, but it's their tune-up game. So,
yeah. Yeah, it's bad. Kathy, you make a good point. One of my donkeys is going to the defense, to a name that we have praised a lot for the last 4 or 5 years. But if you guys didn't watch the game, I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't stick around for all of it. There's a lot of Kyle Sloter chants online. I mean, if there's ever been a hype train behind a fucking preseason player, he's now number one from what I've seen, and it's gained momentum more and more and more. I will say that the game started off sluggish for both teams, and the Vikings were dragging ass the first half of that game. I was actually at the gym because I finally got a day off Saturday, and one of my good friends texted me and said, "Hey, are you watching your boys?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, "Your Vikings are playing right now." And I felt like a really shitty fan because I thought they were playing later in the day. So I got on the treadmill and I streamed the game, and I was pretty angry for most of it. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. We have an interesting little bit of info here. I haven't heard, but Fire Breather says that Kirk Cousins' uncle may have passed away before the game.
Wow.
So maybe, I don't know if that's true. I haven't heard that, but maybe potentially that could be maybe why Kirk Cousins did not have the greatest of outing.
Yeah, I could see that because Kirk's a big family and spiritual guy, so maybe that is. But if that's true, we can confirm that. I can do some research. But obviously, condolences, man. You guys know I give Captain Caucasian a lot of shit on this show. I don't think he's going to be anything more than a 3-year rental, but I enjoy him as a quarterback. I think he puts up good numbers, and I think he's drama free, and he checks a lot of the boxes that you need. So, if that's the case, obviously, condolences, man. I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, definitely.
But
so you want to jump in? You want to jump right in and just get to Arizona, give out some game balls and donkeys, and start talking about.
Yeah, let's do it. So the Vikings hosted the Cardinals. The Vikings are still undefeated this preseason, which means absolutely nothing. But we won 20-9. It was an ugly, sloppy game. I did not like, and just like Kathy said, nice to show up again, Kathy. It's nice to hear from you. I haven't heard from you in a while. Mm-hmm. I did not like what I saw from the first team offense or the first team defense whatsoever. Dalvin Cook was pretty much the shining moment of that. Stephon Diggs, if I recall, had a good catch, but I think it got pulled back from a penalty. There's penalties again in this game. The Vikings hadn't given up a sack all preseason. They gave up 2 against Kirk Cousins in the first half. It was annoying. This is one of those annoying games that pisses you off as a fan, but you have to kind of lower the expectations. This doesn't mean anything for the regular season. You just want to get a gauge. And you're playing against one of those scrambling quarterbacks that have just been known to give us fits. So that was another thing. I want to highlight to say that Kyler Murray is very fucking small.
Yeah.
If he figures it out and he figures out how to take his arm strength and combine it with accuracy, he's going to cause people some fucking problems. It's going to be bad. I can see the wheels turning, not quite figuring it out. There's a lot of raw talent there, but I'm just going to throw that out there now. If he stays healthy, number one, and his coach can be the whisperer of quarterbacks that he has been, this dude's going to tear some teams, and he's single-handedly going to win games. He's going to be like Cam Newton's little brother, if I had to put it something like that, just based off of what I saw from his playing time.
Mm-hmm. We got a decent question from Andrew Leota. Was it just vanilla preseason schemes, or was the effort not there? I don't think it was lack of effort by the Vikings part, but I do think that you start to run into that wall of players have been through OTA. You kind of like wear on guys a little bit where you're playing football, but it's not meaningful football. Like you said, you're not really scheming like what you are for the regular season. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Now, I just justified a hell of a lot because we're Vikings fans, but that's what we do. So we have to tell ourselves that, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you watch it, like I said, I'll probably say that 100 times a game. It was really sloppy. It wasn't what we expected. I know Zimmer chewed their ass when he got in the locker room. I know he did, and
no doubt.
it was. I think it's a good point by you, man. These guys know most of the starters aren't going to play next week. They get a little break. They finally got to the very last little obstacle, and I felt like they kind of just they were like, we'll pass. We'll just give it some effort rather than giving all the effort. I don't know that it was completely just they didn't want to play. I think they were a little cocky too. I saw Xavier Rhodes get beat by Christian Kirk, and I don't know if it was schemes. I don't know if it was just lack of effort. I don't know if it's design or what, but it shouldn't be anything that he hasn't seen before. I've seen Xavier Rhodes shut down Julio Jones and Antonio Brown. Christian Kirk shouldn't be a problem. But, I mean, while we're on the subject, let's hand out game balls and donkeys, and then we'll break down the stats if you're cool with that.
Okay.
You go first, man. Who would you give your game ball to?
I'm going to give my game ball to the fancy banner that I can use now. I'm going to give my game ball. I'm going to give my game ball to Dalvin Cook. Welcome back, Dalvin. We've been waiting for him to come back healthy for the Vikings and to see him on the field because we all know that when Dalvin is healthy, he is dynamic. And we got to see that in a little brief stint. He had a hell of a run. How long was that touchdown run? Like, was it 44 yards? Yeah, I don't know if you have the stats in front of you.
Oh, no, it was an 85-yard run. So
85.
What was great about that was it was I think there was a holding call before. So he actually ran I don't remember if it was 1st and 20 or whatever, but yeah, it was his first and only carry or second carry of the day. He only had 1 or 2 carries and then took it straight to the house, man. That's exactly what I wanted to see from this kid. And yeah, I'm over there on the elliptical just running up, just screaming in Planet Fitness. Go!
When you were on the elliptical, did you try to keep pace with him?
There's no way. What did they say today? Like his top speed on the Vikings website was like 19 point something miles an hour. No, there's no way. That kid's a special talent, man. I'm really excited that he looks like he's ready to go. And I'm glad that they held him back. And what I love is for all the people that have talked all this shit. Now this goes out the window if he gets hurt again, obviously. But all the people who are like, he's a bust. Oh, this is this and this. There was nobody in that building and nobody online saying that he was a bust when he broke off for that touchdown run the other day.
He just needs to stay healthy and on the field. That is no one I don't think will ever question Dalvin Cook's talent. When he is out there, he's a top 10 running back in this league for sure.
Yeah, top 10 fair. Top 10 very fair. Very versatile.
He has to stay on the field for Minnesota.
Yeah, he does so many things. He's the evolution of the running back position. I'm really glad that we snagged him, man. He's a good talent. I'm going to keep it in the running backs room. I want to do this for Adam so bad, but I'm not going to go that route. I want to give a shout out to Devontae Downs. 5 total tackles, 4 by himself, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, and a quarterback hit. He was going to be my pick. I really enjoyed what I saw from him, but my game ball is going to Mike Boone.
Nice.
Yeah, 10 carries, 41 yards, 4.1 average, a touchdown. He broke one out for 20. He also had 1 reception for 6 yards, and I saw him do a couple little things on special teams, man. This kid's got a roster spot. I think he solidified himself above Amir Abdullah for running back 3. Now, whether or not the roster actually says that, but, man, he's fighting like he wants to be here, and he knows that he could essentially be playing for his job, even though I think he knows he's got a spot on the team. I liked everything that I've seen from him so far in the preseason, and I thought he had a pretty good game again, and he just has continuous showings of, all right, cool, whenever you need me to get in and give effort and try whatever, I'll play wherever. And he made some good stops, like I mentioned, on special teams as well. So shout out to Mike Boone.
Overall, I'm a Mike Boone fan. We talked about this a little bit last week where I feel like he wants to dance a little too much when he gets towards the line of scrimmage. For me personally, I don't think that fits his style of player. I think he needs to concentrate on being a one cut, hit the hole, run someone over because he's a bigger body back. He's not he's not the different position, but Percy Harvin, he's not that kind of player who's gonna make players miss like that. So I see him do a little more of that than what I would like to, but I definitely am a fan of Mike Boone. I think that the Vikings have a lot of talent at the running back position, especially when you factor in guys like CJ Ham out there at fullback. I think that we're going to see some really creative and interesting sets this year from the running back position.
Yeah, I'm excited about the running back room, man. Alexander Madison had a couple of good outings this year too in the preseason. I'm just really excited for this running back group in general, just because I feel like they're diverse.
Madison is my 2, and Boone is my running back 3.
Yeah, I think that's where
right now.
Yeah. Start. There could be a switch out for 3 and 4 between Boone and Abdullah, depending on how they want to use them. I don't know. I think all 4 of those that we mentioned make the team. I'm not sure how it weeds out for 3 and 4 at the running back spot, but I like the running back core that we have because they're so diverse. And I know we've been out of the Adrian Peterson era for a couple of years, but you remember that was the whole team, and that was it. You just hand the ball to him and hope that miracles happen, and most of the time it did. But now we have a game plan, and there's all these different ways we can use all these different tools, and I like the depth that we have there. I like the depth a lot for the running backs for this team. Olabisi Johnson from Rod. Yeah, he had a game. Olabisi Johnson over here. We can scream out some of his stats. He led the team in receiving yards. He had 52 yards. Longest was 22. 3 receptions for 52 yards. So I think he'll find his way on the team as well.
I'm giving you a game ball for how easy you pronounced his first name. There was no effort involved in that.
Only because I heard him say his name on the broadcast. So Olabisi. Pretty cool name.
There you go. There's a good comment from Ying Yaj. # boners for Slaughter.
Boner for Slaughter.
Slaughter, yeah.
Hey, we were talking about that, man. We were talking about that earlier. There's a social media war right now, and the guy that runs the Skull Bros Instagram account, he's a big popular Viking fan, and he knows a couple of players and shit. Yeah, free press for Skull Bros. If you ever listen to this, shout out, man. I actually like your page for the most part, and I've ordered some stuff from him too, like sideline shorts and shit. It's pretty cool. But he said, this is quarterback 2, and if you don't agree, fuck you. I was like, hey, man, the kid's making a case for himself. I don't know. I leave it up to the coaches because they know what they're talking about, but Kyle Sloter's definitely making his presence known. We'll break down the stats in a minute, though. We got to go down the dark alley of the donkeys for the show. I'm giving out my donkey, and I was super pissed because the effort from this dude was just not there. Xavier Rhodes, holy shit, man. He looked terrible on Saturday. He looked fucking terrible, and there was really no way around it. I don't know what the grade would have been. It's a preseason game. I doubt they graded it on PFF, but getting burned and then doing that whole I might have a cramp kind of deal. I feel like every time that Xavier Rhodes gets burned, there's always some sort of injury or – oh, no, this is why. And I'm going to go ahead and do my bold statement now, and everybody, this is going to light your world on fire. I would get rid of Xavier Rhodes right fucking now and get while the fucking draft stock is high and figure it out. I wouldn't feel as comfortable with him gone. I know that sounds ironic. I don't think that he's going to be at the peak of his career anymore. I think he's going to get a little older, a little slower, a little more hurt. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope he comes out as the best corner we've ever seen in NFL history. But right now, if I was the GM, I would find a way to get a trade partner for him, get some really high picks, or a good player to fill in. Mike Hughes will be back. I like Mackenzie Alexander. That would make room for Trey Waynes. I'm not on the Xavier Rhodes train anymore, man. I'm just not. And it really pissed me off Sunday. And I hate to base it off of one game because I know that's what it sounds like. It's more of a culmination of last season dying over this. But dear God, did he look bad. And this isn't Larry Fitzgerald in his prime, man. This is a kid that got from Texas A&M last year who was pretty much a non-factor.
Well, you're not the only one in the chat who's got that opinion. Figure out what I'm doing here.
Sorry, guys. I went on a little bit of a rant, but I haven't been that disappointed in Xavier Rhodes in a very, very long time. Like, you remember back when we drafted him and he was always getting PI calls because he was too handsy?
Mm-hmm.
It was along that line of frustration, but this dude knows what he's doing now. And it was very hard to watch because we've got some really, really tough receivers to cover this year, and he's going to be covering the ones. And I hope that's not a sign of things to come. Yeah, Sean's right.
Open.
Yeah, man. I know I'm being dramatic, but you guys, if you watch the game, you'll understand my frustration on that. Yep.
Here you go. Fire breather Xavier Rhodes really falling apart. We even got Ying Yaj says Xavier Rhodes reverting back to being average. So people have been talking about this since we started recording right now.
Well, here's the thing, guys, and I'm a very, very basic football watcher. I won't say that I have, and I've said it before. I'll say it every show. Kyle and Adam know more about football than I do, and I just try to absorb as much as I can and talk about it in a way that you guys will understand. But the pressure that comes from the D-line and your linebacking core will really dictate how good the coverage is. As long as you follow a receiver the entire time until the whistle blows, if the front seven do their job, your corners are going to look really good because the receivers aren't going to catch shit, because that means pressure is coming from the linemen and the linebackers, right? Well, the Vikings have to find that medium this year of good pass rush and good coverage by the linebackers and pressure from them, right? If they have to rely on the corners to go one-on-one and essentially man most of the time, it's going to be a shitty year for us. And to see Xavier Rhodes thrive, we've got to have the good pressure. That's any corner, though, honestly. I'm not just picking on him, but yeah, he's going to have the line play really well, and then his life will be a lot easier. But if he has to do it on his own a lot, it's not going to be fun to watch. It's going to be very frustrating, because that's how you get big chunk plays on you, and that's not what we want. Because I feel like when teams, especially in the last 10 to whatever years, I don't know how long it's been going on with the team, but those big chunk plays are the ones that we just never can seem to catch up with, and we just never have been good at that as far as I've been watching this team. So I hope I change on that. I hope he changes my mind and makes me eat my words, and I'll be humble and say I was wrong. But Kyle Wentz, you didn't get to watch much of the game, but did you have anybody that you didn't like?
Yeah, I was looking at Corey Vedvik. He's going to be my donkey for this week, which sucks because that's not what any of us wanted to do. But let me pull the stats up really here. And basically, I'm going to say what stat, because he was 0 for 2 on field goals. Yeah, but he made both extra points. So I guess thumbs up for that one. But the last thing we want is our kicker that we just spent a 5th-round draft pick to bring in to start missing. This is what we're trying to not have to worry about, is special teams. I was really excited.
How many times are we going to go over this? It's so frustrating, man. And I saw online for one of the Vikings, I don't know if it was Viking Spin or the forum or whatever, but somebody was saying, man, we need to bring in another kicker. That is absolutely the worst idea. You just gave up a 5th round for the guy. I don't give a shit if he misses every fucking field goal this year. At least stick with one for a year. Having somebody new come in and learn the holder and new place and team, like even the location geographically changes, it might fuck him up a little bit. Just ride the guy out. And I guess the only thing I can say, this cliche, is, well, better him fuck up in preseason and be perfect in the regular season, I guess. This kid's staying on the team and the roster because we gave up a 5th-round pick for him. So you guys better get used to seeing him there. I don't know.
I mean, if nothing else, you slide him to punter.
Yep.
And you let him punt. You let him continue to work on kicking during the week, whatever it is, when they practice and stuff. You keep Dan Bailey for this season, and you hope that Corey can maybe develop and turn into your kicker moving forward. So even though maybe he didn't have the best of games this week, it's okay. We don't need to hit the panic button, and you're right. We don't need to go out and start signing more kickers and do that. We're fine with what we have. It's just disappointing.
You guys ever had that moment? Like, I think the only way I can use this as an analogy, because I love analogies, is like I saw a commercial when I was really young for the cereal that I wanted, and it looked really cool. The commercial sold me. The advertisers did their job, and I bought the cereal, and it was fucking disgusting. And good job. That's a good comment by Andrew. Bring in 10 kickers so we can make the Bears coaches look common. That's funny as hell.
Right. I like that.
Hey, at least we don't have those problems, man. We already went through that fucking nightmare of losing in the first round of the playoffs because of a kicker. I don't want to do that shit again. But back to that story, man. Like, if I wanted this cereal so bad and I tasted it and it was fucking shitty, and rather than just keeping it, and throwing it away and starting over, my parents are like, you fucking made this choice. We bought this for you. You're going to eat this shit. Figure it out. All right. I feel like the Vikings should just do that. And I know that's not a popular opinion, because if you miss a shitload of field goals, cool. But the other part of that, and this is another cliche because I'm full of those, if it comes down to the game every week about the kicker, we're doing something wrong on offense. We need to score more fucking touchdowns. So I just need the guy to come in and punt the shit out of the ball Let Dan Bailey ride off into the sunset one more good year because he had a really good year last year, minus 1 or 2 games. Let him do his thing and then see if this kid can catch fire, and who knows from there. But he's going to be on the team, guys. Make no mistake about that. So, yeah. That sucks, though, man. That sucks that he had to get your donkey because I really liked all the shit that I saw. But maybe it's just the jitters. I don't know.
Hey, man, he'll figure it out. It's a new team, new system. That's just what the here's a good one. Kyle Smith analogy time hashtag.
What's up, Tommy? Man, we haven't heard from you in a while, man. How you doing, bro? Yeah, I did. I don't know. I want to get the kicking situation figured out. I want to know what the fuck we're gonna do in a couple of years when Kirk Cousins leaves. Like, it's crazy, man. This is it's a revolving door. And super stressful for this team. I hate fucking being a fan of this team sometimes. But let's go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say it'll test you. Being a Vikings fan will test you. That's for sure.
Yeah, if it wasn't the military, it's being a Vikings fan. Let's fucking salt up here in my hair. I mean, I'm telling you, I didn't look old when I was fucking 10 years ago. Let's break down.
You got the Brett Favre look going on, so it works for you.
Compliment. Have you seen Favre? I mean, the dude, he's shredded as shit. He's like 50 years old. And I know he can still throw a fucking piss missile, as Chris Sims called him. I hope that. Thanks. That's a good compliment. I'm taking that to the grave. Yeah. You can't take it back. I'm not going to break down anybody from Arizona just because cool. We got to see cool moments from Larry Fitzgerald. He's a Minnesota native. Terrell Suggs, if you guys didn't know, plays for the Cardinals now, which is fucking weird. David Johnson was in the game. He got 9 carries. He only got 34 yards. He didn't score a touchdown. That's pretty much it. Kyler Murray was the big talk of the day. 4 rushes for 9 yards, 14 of 21 for 137. No touchdowns, no picks. He had an 84.8 rating. So it was kind of cool to gauge against the number 1 pick in the draft. Former Heisman Trophy winner as well. But for the Vikings, breaking down the passing game, Kyle Sloter led the way in yardage, 6 of 7 for 102. 1 touchdown, no picks, no sacks, 158.3 rating, almost a perfect passer rating. He's making a damn good case to be the second quarterback on this team. I think they're going to go with Sean Mannion just because they want to go with a veteran. But for how long Kyle Sloter is going to be in the league here soon, he's probably going to be a veteran.
I've always wondered, like, because this happens quite a bit. It's like you have a player, like a backup quarterback, who's never really played outside of preseason. And then at some point, you call them a veteran quarterback. Like, at what point do you just go from holding a clipboard to all of a sudden now you're a veteran backup quarterback? I always think that's funny the way that works out.
Yeah, and I think when you get a little experience like Ryan Fitzpatrick or somebody, that you get a chance to start somewhere. Even like I want to see a veteran, somebody you could say, all right, quality backup or decent backup. But Kyle Sloter's made a name for himself. He's a Minnesota fan favorite for most everyone else. I'm going to stick with the notion of I like the kid. I think he plays balls to the wall. I think he really doesn't give a fuck when he gets back there. But I think that the coaches have him as quarterback 3 for a reason, and I'm sticking with that because his plays are great, but they're against third stringers. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Put him up against the Bears defense, and he's going to fall apart, and I truthfully believe that. Now, if he comes to the point where we have to start him and he's playing against the Bears or the Eagles defense, we're probably fucked either way. Sorry for the French there, but I don't know, man. Unless you have Nick Foles as your backup, which he's a starter again now, if you're playing your backup, it's probably not going to be a good day anyways. And it's probably going to be a good day for the running backs because I'm going to tell them to turn around and hand the ball off probably 80% of the game. So I don't know. I like Kyle Sloter. He has good stats. He's going to make the team. We'll see if he battles it out to that second spot. Sean Mannion was 6 of 9 for 57 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 1 sack. 84 rating, so he was right there with Kyler Murray rating and stats and whatnot. Kirk Cousins looked like shit on Saturday, and I don't know what the hell. He's hanging on to the ball too long. He took 2 sacks for 11 yards. He was 3 of 13. There was pressure getting to him. He held on, took some sacks. What happened?
That is not what you want to see from your starting quarterback.
No, especially not in preseason game 3. dress rehearsal. It's not. That's not what you want to see. I was vehemently frustrated with Kirk Cousins. I was pretty frustrated with the entire offense just because the league is set up for passing, and these are vanilla defensive schemes. And for all the improvements we've had for the line or something like that, we had penalties, and a lot of it, I believe, was our fault. Us, not playing to our fucking potential and shooting ourselves in the foot. But man, it was bad. And Arizona's not a good team. Don't get it twisted. They're a bottom quarter of the league team, and their starters look pretty good against us at home. So it was all the variables you didn't want to hear, but it's preseason, so I'm going to chalk it up to that and try not to get too pissed off about it. Kirk Cousins definitely needs to step his game up, and he owned up to that in the press conference on Saturday afternoon. But there's only so many more of those that me and all the fans are going to be willing to hear after 2 years of, I need to do better. Well, no fucking shit, man. You obviously need to do better. So there's that.
Fire breather didn't know you were French.
Oh yeah. My French sounds like shit, man. Sorry.
Here's the thing about Kirk Cousins. This is going to be the best group of weapons offensively that he will probably ever have. With Adam Thielen, with Stephon Diggs, with Kyle Rudolph and Dalvin Cook and Madison and all the other pieces and parts that he's got to play with. Mm-hmm. It's his second year in Minnesota. I know that it's a new offense, but it's kind of a tailored version of what they ran before with like new. It's not like a complete restart. It's like they took what they were doing. They added some more to it, so it's not a complete. So you can't completely say it's a new offense for him again. So it's definitely put up or shut up time for Kirk Cousins. It's like if you are going to be the guy, you have to figure it out right now. So the Vikings have worked to address the offensive line for you. It's definitely better than what it was last year. But you also look at like other great quarterbacks, like Aaron Rodgers doesn't always have the greatest line. He's able to overcome that. So you need Kirk Cousins to, if you're going to be the guy, you have to overcome some of the other issues. Do you think Tom Brady is always Tom Brady usually does always have a really great team around him, but he's also able to overcome and work with players that, maybe if you put him on another team, maybe they're not the best in the league. Okay, it's time for Kirk Cousins to do that.
Shut up, Year. I'm not saying that they would get away from him if the season doesn't go well and we go 7-9 or something. They may, but I think if it doesn't happen this year, and I know we said it last year, but year 2 is supposed to be a lot better. You mentioned the line, the weapons, the addition of Gary Kubiak. I mean, everything is there. If it doesn't happen this year, is what Kirk Cousins is. And if he can take us to a championship game, I think some people will be proven wrong, because that means he would have had to have had, at a minimum, a wild card berth, maybe a 1 or a 2 seed. He would have beaten some good teams, won a playoff game, finally shut some people up. But that's the expectation. I mean, the expectation for the team is Super Bowl. But at a minimum, I think we're going to have to get to a conference championship again for it to be somewhat seem like it was worth getting Kirk Cousins, because all you got to point back to, if you're the uneducated fan, is saying, well, Case Keenum got us there. So, but anyways.
And hey, Case was just named the starter.
In Washington. Congratulations to him. He'll get to fight for his job until that team implodes and Dwayne Haskins takes over. But I'm glad he's still getting paid and still playing, man. I like Case Keenum a lot. He was a good guy. Rushing was the story of the day. Total, the Vikings had 190 rushing yards for the day. Mir Abdullah was 1 for 7. Alexander Madison was 6 of 18. D'Angelo Henderson was 10 for 36. Mike Boone, 10 for 41. And Dalvin Cook, 2 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown. Mike Boone also got a score with his 10 carries and 41 yards. I was very happy with the rushing attack. This is exactly what you need to see. This is exactly what you want to see from the team. This is exactly what a Mike Zimmer team looks like. As far as we can get to that later. Going down the receiving list.
You kind of cut out a little bit there at the end.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Sorry, guys. I'm using my my phone here. Hey, if you have AT&T, you know the struggle of how shitty the service is.
You're also recording from like Little House on the Prairie. I don't 100% even know where you are.
I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, guys. If anybody's around Memphis, shoot the podcast, leave a message, and I'll come hang out with you and have a beer. We can talk football or something. But yeah, the rushing attack was really good.
There is no one else while you are. Don't pretend that there is people.
I'm actually on a campground. I'm surrounded by tons of people, but I'm in my own cabin right now, so it's just me and the dogs, which is really That's the kind of life that I kind of want. So when I can do my podcast whenever I want, that's exactly what I need.
Right.
Receiving, there's a ton of receivers that caught balls. I'm not going to go through all of these. The leading receiver is Olabisi Johnson, 3 for 52. Brandon Dillon, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Conklin, Jordan Taylor, Kari Blasingame, Dylan Mitchell, Brandon Zylstra, all those guys going down the list. The only touchdown receiving wise came from the fullback, I believe, Kari Blasingame, 1 for 15 touchdown, which was really cool. And of course, the only touchdown that was thrown passing wise was from Kyle Sloter. So all he does is throw touchdowns in the preseason. But yeah, 194 total passing yards, 1 touchdown. Pretty happy with that. There were a couple of fumbles. Garrett Bradbury and Irv Smith recovered 1 each. Sean Mannion and Alexander Madison lost fumbles, but we recovered both of those. So that was really good to see. At least we didn't turn the ball over there. I didn't get to see those. Is there a reason Adam isn't here because he's busy watching Walking Dead? I don't know what Adam's up to. He messaged us and told us he would be out. He didn't tell us why. I'm hoping he has a hot date with a bunch of women tonight. So,
or he could be watching Walking Dead. He could be watching Walking Dead on a date. You never know with Adam.
Maybe he has a Walking Dead date.
Yeah, there you go.
And sorry, I'm just now remembering this. Tommy, you asked me a question earlier, but I was ranting and babbling on like I always fucking do, and I missed it because it turned off while I was looking at the screen and came back. So I didn't ignore you, man. I'm really sorry. I forgot what it was. I don't know if you can pull them back up, but yeah, there it is. So Tommy asked earlier, I have concerns about wide receiver after Diggs and Thielen, and the DBs are even more concerning. It's like 2015 all over again, but with better starting wideouts. That's a very good fucking point. And this is one of the reasons why when you hear, like, there's so many good articles out there about like top 10 lists and groups and stuff. And that you would think, I think the Vikings, without a doubt, maybe you can argue Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. But I think they have the best wide receiver duo in the league. But when it comes to wide receiver cores, we don't make the list of like at least the top 7 because after Diggs and Thielen, I love Chad Beebe like the rest of you guys do. We love an Olabisi Johnson or Jeff Badette, but what the fuck are those? We already so. And I'm not as worried as far as the depth of DBs. I like our depth at corner. I think it's pretty good. And I think I like our depth at safety. I'll tell you who was really good in the preseason so far at safety is Jaron Kearse. I wasn't a big fan of him for most of the time he's been here. I know he's a good special teamer, but he's been balling out in preseason this year. So maybe he's finally figured it out and he'll be able to come in and step. That'd be cool if his big ass could play corner. I know he's a little big. He's probably not as fast, but man, he's big as shit. So I don't mind the depth there in the DBs.
We're all rooting for Chad Beebe. We all want him to make the team, but he sure isn't having himself much of a preseason.
Nope.
And that's disappointing.
After camp.
Yeah. You just don't know. You just never know how that's going to work out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting after this next game. Who are we playing next? The Bills, maybe?
Oh, God, you would ask that when I don't have the info in front of me.
I don't have it either, man. We'll figure it out. I'll look it up in a second. But
this is what happens when we don't have Adam with us.
Yeah, oh, God, yeah. You guys left us to our own devices. That was a fucking terrible mistake. Yeah, but we'll figure it out. Once the schedule, the game, it'll be interesting to see that. Yeah, the next one coming up is Thursday, so 3 days from now at 7 p.m. at Buffalo Bills. So that'll be a game worth kind of not watching. I'm going to try to watch it. Oh, thanks, Rod. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing our job for us because we're unprofessional. Sorry, man. Going down the list here, Anthony Barr led the way with tackles. Like I said earlier, as a shout out, he would have got my game ball, but I wanted to give it to Mike Boone. Devontae Downs is number 2. 5 tackles, 4 by himself, a sack, a tackle for loss, and a quarterback hit. All total in the day, he was the only one with a sack. There were 2 quarterback hits. There were 3 tackles for loss and 4 passes defended from the defensive side. But I'm not going to go through all these names and stuff. I've seen a lot of good things through the preseason when it comes to defense from Shamar Stephen and Afadi Odenigbo. Very happy with those guys. Those are good rotational guys. I'm very excited. And Hercules Mataafa got some time to play, which I'm very happy that he's back in there and he's healthy. Mm-hmm. So I will tell you there, I'm very happy with the depth for the D-line and those guys. So I'm not too worried about that. I think that's the strength of the defense. Going down through the stats, I'm just going to run through these real quick. Kick returns, Olabisi Johnson, 1 for 36. Mike Boone, 1 for 26. Punt returns, Amir Abdullah, 2 for 27. Chad Beebe, 1 for 5. Kicking, Corey Vedvik, 0 for 2 on field goals, 2 for 2 on extra points. Matt Will was the punter, 6 punts, 284 yards, 47.3 average. He had a 55-yard as longest punt, so that was good. Those are your stats from the game. Like I said, very sloppy. We hosted the Cardinals. They didn't score an offensive touchdown, which is really nice. I don't think. Let me go through and make sure there's no rushing. No, it's only 3 field goals. I was right. So,
yeah. Tommy Gunn brings up an interesting point here, too. He's like, guess who the next 2 opposing kickers coming to U.S. Bank are? Blair Walsh with the Atlanta Falcons, and I did not know the other one, but he brought it up. That is correct. Daniel Carlson with the Raiders as well, too. And Carlson has been looking really good ever since he signed with Oakland. So we're just cursed, man. We're just cursed.
That's true. The only way I would really believe that this team has a kicker's curse is if we cut somebody who was just dreadful and then they went on to win the Super Bowl by a field goal. And then I would have to be like, God, it's me again. What the hell?
That'll end up being Daniel Carlson.
No, that means the Raiders have to win a Super Bowl. That's not good.
Yeah.
You got the Chiefs in that division. You got Patty Mahomes in that division. He ain't going anywhere. I'm sorry.
Good point.
That's a pretty good Cardinals game. We have the Bills game like we were talking about on Thursday, and it said, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern. I have to check, or maybe it's 8. I don't know what time exactly because I didn't have it up, but play the Bills Thursday Night Football. I'm sure there'll be a lot of games Thursday. Hey, dude, I'm trying to do a podcast up here. Can you scratch yourself later? Jesus. These dogs, man. You have to do themselves down there. Minnesota, where kicker's career is going to die. I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah. I'm sure when Dan Bailey got the call, he's like, motherfucker, this is it. Are we? With our look at Blair Walsh, it's a game winner. He better not, Rod. I'm coming after you if he does that. What the hell was I going to say? That's funny. You threw me off with that. That's really funny.
All that I know is that using this sidebar in the chat, this is super fun.
Yeah.
Being able to highlight comments, I love that. Yeah.
We were raving about this 2 weeks ago when we first started it. I missed last week's show because of work, but yeah, this is we're definitely going to stick with this. Like it's a consensus across the board. We're sticking with this format. It's really good. I already did my bold statement. If you guys wanted to hear about it again, listen, rewind in the show, do whatever you need to do. I think we should seriously consider shopping Xavier Rhodes. I know we were shopping Trey Waynes, but he's younger and I think he's a little quicker. Probably not the best compared to. I'm not liking what I'm saying. I want to touch on this real quick just because it needed to be said, and we've all agreed in the chat, but it's major across the NFL, and it needs to be addressed. Andrew Luck retired this weekend. It's fucking shocking. You know, we make fun of the guy. I love the Dan Levitard show. You guys know that if you're a fan of this show. I love him to death. They do a limited fake Dan, Andrew Luck. They always, poke fun at him, but the dude is just the most wholesome, nicest guy you see on film, and just down to earth, love playing football, and very smart. I mean, where did he go to Stanford or USC, whatever? He's very fucking smart. But he just said in a nutshell, if you didn't listen to his conferences, he's like, I've been in this cycle for the last 4 years of pain, rehab, football, get injured, pain, rehab, football, get injured. He's like, I swore to myself the last time that I wouldn't do that. And this injury kept lagging. And we all thought that he would probably miss a couple of games for a lower leg injury, but he decided to retire. The fans were they were sickening to me. And I understand if you're just getting the news and you're sitting there looking in the stadium and you're like, what the fuck? He just retired. Yeah, I understand you probably don't know how to voice that in any other way than like, what the fuck and a boo. But there's a lot of people online that are shitting on Andrew Luck. And I just want to take the time out to say, if you shit on Andrew Luck, your mom's a hoe. I'm just going to say it. You don't dictate when a guy is tough enough. Number one, if you've never played football and professionally and you didn't play it better than him, the only people that can say this to him are like Brett Favre and Eli Manning. That's literally it. Aaron Rodgers is probably the best quarterback I've ever seen in my generation, and he gets injured a lot, and he's out there defending the guy. So unless you're Eli Manning or Brett Favre and you never get hurt, I would never want to hear about it from anybody. I don't know how to say this without cursing or making maybe some stuff that would embarrass the podcast because I get a little bit profane and outside the lines of stuff, but I don't speak Spanish. So I don't go into Mexico and take my white ass in there trying to order shit in Spanish because I know that's not my fucking lane. All right. I don't play basketball, so I stay my white ass off the court. Blah, blah, blah. You see where I'm going there? If you don't play football professionally, you don't get to say if someone's tough or not. That's just not how it works. So people saying, well, he fucked his team over because he quit right before the season. The dude was trying to come back for you guys. He physically was trying, and he finally found it. He's like, holy shit, I can't play football anymore. I'm going to be injured. So, sorry. I know Colts fans are probably pissed. You got a really good head coach. They have a really good team. But Andrew Luck is one of the really good quarterbacks that we've seen through. And I think he had, through his seasons just now, the only person that had more touchdowns through 7 seasons was Dan Marino. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Really? You're in the talk with Dan Marino, who's the only other person above you. So, speedy recovery to the world. Shocking news that shook the NFL world this weekend. Speedy recovery and a good post-football life to Andrew Luck. I'm not sure that this is the last time we'll see him play football, but it will be for this season. So, I just want to say I'm really proud of the fans for this team. I'm not the owner. I'm not whatever, but I associate myself with you guys. So thank you guys for not being shitty like those people online because, man, if a Viking player, like if Harrison Smith up and retired today, I'd be very upset, but I would never boo him and tell him he's a piece of shit. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe people said that, man. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Well, I was pretty shocked when I heard it, but you can't be pissed off that a guy wants to choose his health over something. That's stupid.
It was definitely shocking. Like, like if that was one of our players, you'd be mad because the timing is terrible. I mean, you would just be like, oh, that sucks, and it's right before the season starts. But at the same time, like Rod said in the chat, health over wealth. Like, you can't ever be mad at someone for having to step away because you don't want to see players get hurt. And if he's not emotionally invested in the game, then
yeah, he's not going to play well.
Yeah, that's when players retire.
Well, that happens, or you're going to end up dead on the field like Brett Favre was and waking up not knowing where the fuck you were, which is not it. And the other thing, too, like, you guys already know this, but I have to put it on something that could be recorded for the rest of history and time and place my stance on. People that talk shit about football players for getting paid, I just want you to put in perspective 2 things. Number one, you are not as good at your fucking job as Andrew Luck is. You're not even close to it, man. Think about this. I want you guys to think about this. Think about what you do for a living. Like, I'm a dog handler, right? There's umpteen thousands of dog handlers across the world. There are 32 starting professional quarterbacks, and he's in the top 10 of those. Every year he's been there. No doubt about it. Stats don't lie. All the people in the NFL will tell you that. All the analysts, all his teammates will be like, yeah, motherfucker balls out every year. You are not as good at your job as what he is. So if you want to get paid $8 million every time you go to work, be really good at your fucking job or shut up. That's just it. Number 2, like, super kudos to the Colts for paying him. They had an option to take back most of his money. They didn't do it. I think that's super classy, man. I think it's really classy that they paid him. But yeah, that whole thing of, oh, these guys get paid, blah, 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 blah. Find something that pays that much money and be really good at it then, Billy Bob. I can turn a wrench just as good as you can, or I can change a tire on a car. Get the fuck out of here. It's really hard to be a quarterback in the National Football League and to do it for a long time. Like, I can't stand that. It's amazing to me, the Facebook comics section of how much stupid is running around down there. And then those people, well, the crazy part about that, and I'm going to be a real asshole here, those people go out and have kids.
That's your bold take for the day, sir.
Yeah, that should be it. Be nice to people, man, even though I was a total asshole to people just now. But that's my rant for the day. Sorry for being so long-winded on it. I'm just happy to be back. Me and Kyle love this format. I know Adam does too. This is really cool. I think that's the show, though. I don't think we have much else. We'll see. We'll review the Bills game and get ready for Week 1 against Atlanta. And then, as you can see right here, you can like and subscribe to the page. We have a Facebook page. We have a Twitter. Mostly operate on Facebook, but if you want to hook us up, go on iTunes and listen to our stuff. When I was out last week, I went to Apple Podcasts and I listened to Kyle and Adam talk about the preseason game number 2 against the Seahawks. It was fun. Hell yeah. And I'm not wearing it now. I should wear it every show, but I just didn't dig it out today. But Kyle West over there, that handsome motherfucker right there, he has some Purple People podcast swag. And if you like the show and you want to buy some stuff with our logos and name and stuff on it, why not? And that's where you can buy it, right there.
Right there. That is my website. That is my photography website. We have Purple People podcast junk that you can buy. You can buy it on T-shirts and hoodies. You can put it on coffee mugs. You can get it on a beach towel. As well as I have other photo work. All my other photo work is up there too. So you might see something else you like. You never know. Yeah. So you should definitely check it out.
You should. Kyle's a good photographer, and I'll vouch for ordering stuff from him. I pay money just like you guys would to go get it. I don't get a friend discount. Number 1, I don't ask for one. 2, I like to support businesses like that. But I'll give you the cool thing about that, and I'll say it every. Oh yeah, no problem, dude. I'll say it every time. If you want to go, they have a lot of options, man. There's a lot of color options. There's a lot of different options for shirts. If you like a tank top, if you like a sweater, if you like a hoodie, if you like a long sleeve. I ordered a long sleeve, a short sleeve, and a hoodie just because. So you have all those options. Just keep that in mind. I like it. And yeah, you should go support it. One more thing before we get out of here. Adam's not here, and Dorian wasn't here this week. Miss you too, dude. Dorian Foley, one of our other guys that jumps in and hosts when he can. But Adam Carlson writes for the Viking Age, and you should go click that. He's had a lot of good success lately, and I don't know if it's because we've been shoving it down people's throat on here, but check out thevikingage.com. It's right here in the title bar. If you see anything from Adam Carlson on there, just go in and comment and just say something on it. It'll boost his numbers, and that's how he makes his living. And he does a really good job on being fair and writing some good articles about the Vikings. So, and we get a lot of our stuff for the show here because, let's face it, Kyle and I like to just kind of figure it out and wing it, and Adam does all the professional shit. So thank you, Adam. Yeah, that's all I got, man. If you got anything you want to plug, but that's it for me.
No, I think we pretty much plugged everything. Just like I said, I always like to encourage everyone to make sure that you like the actual YouTube page, because a lot of the times we decide really quickly when we're going to record, and sometimes it's within like 15 minutes. Of like, hey, we're going to record in the next 15 minutes. So if you're liked to the YouTube channel, you can always get that notification for when we're going live, because we love having you guys in the chat room. We love being able to highlight comments and talk about what you guys want to talk about, because that's what makes the show fun. And so I think on that note, we will end it and remind everyone to stay classy, Minnesota.